If you've ever wondered how to get light behind a subject, then this video is exactly the one for you. I'm going to show you how to place a radial gradient behind your subject and clean up the mask in the process. So if that's something that you're interested in, stay tuned. If you find that ON1 Photo Raw is a program that you want to pick up, or maybe you want to upgrade to the latest version, consider using my affiliate coupon FreeWillPhotos20. It'll save you some money at checkout. I do make a small commission, and I greatly appreciate everyone who uses it. Now, let's go ahead and jump into the computer and take a look at how we can create this lighting effect inside of ON1 Photo Raw 2026. So here we are inside of the computer, and we have this file. Now, of course, if you are a member of the FWP Academy, you can go download this file and follow along. But if not, then consider signing up for the Academy. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is open up this image inside of the edit module, and then we're going to come over to our local tab. We're going to click on the plus icon here, and then we're going to come down to gradient, and we're going to click on add. This adds a new adjustment inside of ON1 Photo Raw, so that way we can increase the exposure behind our subject. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just increase the exposure so we can see what's happening. Now, at first glance, it's just applying the adjustment down here at the bottom of our photo. That's not what we want. And so what we also want is a radial gradient as opposed to a linear gradient, because right now we just have a straight line. And if I press the letter O, you can see it's only impacting the bottom of the photo. Now, if we come up to the top portion here where we have our masking menu options, if we click on the shape, the drop down that says gradient, we can select center. And right away, you can see how this gives us a radial gradient. It puts the adjustment for the exposure inside of the radial gradient. And so now we just need to resize it. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to feather it out by grabbing this dotted line. And that just helps the light spread a little bit more naturally, so we're not overdoing the edit. Now, at the current moment, this is essentially covering the dog, and we don't want that. We want the light to be behind the dog. So to make the light go behind the dog, we're going to come over to our masking properties, and this is the masking properties for the adjustment that we have applied right now, which is the radial gradient. And then we're going to come to mask layers. Now, if your mask layers doesn't show the gradient here, it's probably because you have it collapsed. And the way that you expand it is by clicking on the word mask layers, and then it will expand for you. Once it's expanded, you'll see all of the adjustments or the mask layers that you've created. And so we'll come over to this plus icon, and you'll get a menu that's going to pop up. And what we want to do is subtract the dog. Well, the dog is likely going to be recognized as the subject. And so we'll come over here to subject, and then we're just going to come to subtract because we want to remove him from being impacted by this radial gradient. And so when we do that, you can see the dog is no longer affected. And if I increase the exposure a lot more, well, you'll notice now this light is only behind the dog. And so you'll notice that the front part of the mound is actually impacted by the light as well. And that's because if I press the letter O, it's still part of this radial gradient mask. And so you may want to clean that up if this is applicable for you. And so we're going to go back over to our masking properties. And then we're going to come back to mask layers. We're going to hit the plus icon. And this time we're going to use the Quick Mask AI brush. This is probably one of the fastest ways of cleaning up the mask. So if you hover over it and then you click on subtract, ON1 is going to read the image for a little bit if you haven't used this tool on the photo yet. And then once it's done, it's going to give you a crosshair like so. And now I can just select this mound. And it's also selecting some of the dog, which is fine because we've already subtracted the dog. But if you didn't want that in your selection, you can press and hold the option key and then just hover over the areas, and you can get those areas removed like so by option and then clicking. But once you have the area that you want to remove selected, we'll come up to the top here and click the blue check mark. This is going to tell ON1, get rid of those areas from this masked area. And now you can see we have a radial gradient just behind the dog. Now, a few more notes about adjusting this particular mask. The first one is when you are on this mask, you want to make sure that you have the masking bug available. And so to do that, you can either press M on your keyboard. That's my favorite way of doing it. Or you can come over to the left side here and click on the fourth icon from the bottom. This is going to be your masking tools. And then make sure that you have this little line with the circle and the dot on it. And if you don't, you click the drop down and then you come to the one that says gradient mask. This is the masking bug, and this is where your radial gradient is located. And so now if I press the letter O, I get access to this radial gradient and I can move it around and reposition the light as necessary. So I can pull this down. And if I wanted to warm up this light, I can just come over here to temperature and increase the warmth, and there we go. The method that I just showed you works fine when ON1 can actually detect the subject, but sometimes ON1 doesn't detect subjects. And so if you want to use this exact same technique, go ahead and click the video that's popping up on screen now, and I'll show you how to do it when the subject detection does not work. Until next time, I want you to stay inspired and keep creating. Peace.